the stage, neuropsychologist Julie Horwitz.
Good morning, Seattle. All right, so people told me that was kind of a lame way to start the show, but the truth is that as a neuropsychologist, I'm used to working with people who think we're in a different place and a different time than we actually are. And that's because as a neuropsychologist, and by the way, that's neuropsychologist, not nurse oncologist, something people only seem to mishear when they're listening to women in my profession giving their job title. So as a neuropsychologist, my main job is to assess people's cognitive function. And so I'm used to asking questions about things like where we are or who holds important positions in office, which does create some confusion sometimes. So just the other day, I finished an evaluation with a patient, and afterwards I overhear her in the hallway talking to her husband. And she's like, "Honey, I don't know about this doctor. I mean, she had to ask me who the President of the United States is." So anyway, because I am more scared shitless standing up here trying to make you guys laugh than I was jumping out of a plane at 12,000 feet, I would like to get back into my comfort zone a little bit and do a test with all of you that just involves 3 questions. Sound good? Yeah! All right. Number 1, if we're not in Seattle, where are we?
Colorado.
All right, Colorado Springs, nice. Number 2, what day of the week is it?
Friday.
Right. And finally, number 3, in what way are an orange and a banana alike?
They're fruit.
The answer I was going for was fruit. So, congratulations. For those of you who got all of these questions right, you are officially fit to run a country. So for real, did you guys hear about this?
No.
All right, so a few weeks back, Trump was given a 30-point cognitive screen, and because he got a perfect score, his doctor decided that he was cleared for duty to be President of the United States. So this really kind of pissed me off. So first of all, my friends are all aware that this is my area of expertise, and because they're intelligent people and have eyes and ears, can tell that Trump isn't working with a full deck. So when they hear that someone presumably in my profession cleared him for duty, they figure my field must be a joke. And then second of all, this really got under my skin because the conclusion was pretty much crap. So first of all, the screen that Trump took is freely available to anybody online. So Trump could have gone online and studied ahead of time. I mean, probably not, who are we kidding? Because that would have required him to read and, look at sources of information outside of Fox News. But somebody could have coached him, right? Sir, yes, I know that an orange sort of resembles your face, and you want to make sure everyone knows you have an extremely, extremely large banana. In fact, the largest banana. But let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say he really did get a perfect score all on his own. Well, this is kind of like getting a perfect score on a test drive where you take the car around the block and everything goes okay. So great, the car can run around the block, but that doesn't necessarily mean it can run across the country or run a country. So screens like the one that he was given do have some benefit for letting us know when we need to do more comprehensive testing. But if you are looking at fitness to complete a job as complex as an airline pilot or President of the United States, you need to do a lot more than just give a 30-point cognitive screen. I mean, imagine that someone thought that something was going on up here with your airline pilot, and all she had to do was indicate that she knew where she was and could remember a few words and name a few items. That would give you confidence next time you got on a plane, right? I mean, no, you would want to do a full and complete assessment looking at everything from memory to language to visuospatial and executive functioning, or what we consider higher level thinking. And you'd also want to look at psychiatric health and well-being, which a 30-point cognitive screen just does not do. So all in all, Trump getting cleared for duty on the basis of this cognitive screen should give you about as much reassurance as Hannibal Lecter being cleared to be a vegan chef. Or Betsy DeVos being cleared to head the Department of Education. But anyway, enough about Trump and his stable geniusness. Let's move on to a more uplifting topic, like dementia. So a big part of my job, again, is assessing cognitive functioning, and that includes doing that in the interest of diagnosing dementia. And just to clarify, dementia is just a general term which means cognitive dysfunction that results in an impaired ability to carry out day-to-day tasks. And to further clarify, Alzheimer's disease is a type of dementia, not a synonym for it. So dementia is a sad and scary topic, and I know this not just from my work, but also personally because my grandfather had a type of dementia called vascular dementia. So I know how devastating it is. But one big thing that I learned from my grandfather and from some of my other aging relatives is the importance of maintaining a sense of humor and a sense of perspective. So like my grandfather, well into his 90s, would say that he felt like a spring chicken of 75. Or like the time I overheard my 87-year-old great uncle at a party bragging to his friends about this woman he was dating. Yep, she's 81, but she's got the body of a 70-year-old. So people will ask me a lot of times about what they can do to lower their risk of dementia and improve their memories, because common wisdom, aka Facebook, has told them that they should be doing crossword puzzles or jigsaw puzzles or taking some pill derived from the blood of a rare polar bear species found deep in the heart of the Amazon. And so what I tell them is that we know that using our brains in different ways, like learning a new language or a musical instrument, can help our brain make new connections, and so doing puzzles may help in a similar way, although the research is mixed. And unfortunately, we don't have any medications to either prevent or cure dementia, and so that pill Facebook is telling you to buy is probably just a waste of money. But what I say is that we do know that there's one thing that has been pretty consistently shown to lower dementia risk and optimize cognitive functioning, and that is exercise, and cardiovascular exercise in particular. So there was actually a study that came out pretty recently that showed that women who were at a higher level of cardiovascular fitness in middle age had an 88% lower dementia risk decades later compared to women at lower fitness levels. Yeah, so that's pretty crazy, right? I mean, 88%. That's like the percentage of stoners who fail their drug test and say it's because they ate a poppy seed bagel. In case you missed it, it's 420, so I had to throw in a weed joke somewhere. So if the idea of fitting into your skinny jeans or looking good for that beach vacation next month isn't enough to get you off the couch and get moving, maybe the idea of being able to keep putting your own pants on and being able to use the bathroom without an escort in your golden years will be. Because unless you're into golden showers, you probably prefer to do your business in the privacy of your own bathroom. So that study I mentioned a second ago actually came out of Sweden, and in fact, a lot of what we've learned about healthy cognitive aging comes from looking at other cultures. Now I know this is a very un-American concept. I mean, why look at countries that have things like universal health care when we can reattach limbs with super glue and duct tape and treat our gunshot victims with prayers? But for those of us who do see some value in looking at other cultures, we've learned some pretty interesting stuff about healthy cognitive aging from looking at what's been termed the blue zones, which are these communities across the globe which have been shown to have people who stay very cognitively sharp well into their 90s and even their hundreds. And what we've learned about these communities is that people in them tend to have a family focus, not to be confused with focus on the family. I'm talking about emphasizing strong bonds with family. People in these communities tend not to be big smokers. They tend to eat a lot of plants and legumes in particular, and they tend to have pretty active social lives. And, not surprisingly, they tend to engage in regular physical activity, which is just incorporated into their day-to-day lives. So this is all pretty awesome, right? I mean, all we have to do is ditch the meat and cigarettes, start eating more beans and lentils, start spending more time with our family and friends, and maybe start taking the stairs and walking or biking instead of driving. And if we all do these things, if we're very lucky, when we're in our 80s, we'll all be able to run a country. Or at the very least, run our own bladders.